Say goodbye to this tiny little front step because I am building a bigger and better one. Real story, I ripped it out and then left us without a front step for like a month. But then I got back to building. And here's where I thought everything would be smooth sailing. I'm framing it out with pressure treated 2x4s. And then I recruited help to slide it in place because it was super heavy. So far, so good, right? It was even level. And I secured it to the concrete. Going great so far. Here's where it takes a turn because I had decided I wanted to brick the front step. So of course I'm going to use cement board underneath the brick, right? Do you see my mistake? I laid the cement board directly on the framing. Cement board is not structural. You have to lay it on top of something already structural, like 3/4 inch pressure treated plywood. So let's put that down first and then add the cement board back. That's more like it. Okay, now for the fun part. I'm using these thin brick tiles. They're made of real brick, but they apply just like tiles. I am going to dry fit this, which means laying everything out and trying to cut some of the cuts before you start mortaring them down. This herringbone is the part that I'm the most excited about. Look how pretty this is going to be. Now this is when my vision finally comes to life. These bricks cut so easily with my wet saw. I've had this wet saw for 5 years and it's still going strong. If you've never used a wet saw, it's actually one of the safest saws because it doesn't cut, it just grinds. So you can't chop your fingers off even if you wanted to. Then it was time to just install these just like regular tiles. You mix up some mortar, you spread the mortar on with a notch trowel, and then you lay this on and then you kind of wiggle it to collapse the notches and bam, you got it yourself a step. The herringbone installed the same way. I like that these came on these huge sheets so I didn't have to try to make all of them perfect, but you will have to cut some for around all of the edges. After everything was tiled, it was finally time for the last step, which is grouting. This was pretty fun. It was kind of like icing a cake. You just squeeze the grout into the gaps and then you can spread it flat with either this trowel or a gloved finger. After it had set up about 10 or 15 minutes, I went back with a dry brush just to get a little bit extra grout off the face of the tile because I didn't want it to be too grouty. And here's the new bigger step all finished, but now it's snowballed into, should I paint more of the front door? Or does the coral no longer go and should I paint it maybe teal? Anyways, I'll figure it out. Stay tuned.